Carrying a new docking module has successfully hooked up with the International Space Station after its 2-day space journey. That new docking module has 6 ports and will allow for the potential future expansion of the Russian side of that space station.
ABC's Michelle Franzen. This is ABC News.
Velvety paper feel, exquisite colors, stunning scale. At Staples, we sweat the details and quality of every print project. Stop by Staples and try our Print Big Promise. We're committed to getting your print job right, to treating your small business like a big deal, and guiding you from start to finish. Get 20% off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Offer ends January 1st. Visit staples.com/services/printing for details. Staples, where small business prints big.
Chuck Severson, ABC News.
From the KMET Weather Center for Beaumont Banning in the Pass area, red flag warning remains in effect until 6 o'clock tonight. Sunshine this afternoon, 72. Clear skies tonight, 49. More sunshine tomorrow and 73. For the Inland Empire, that red flag warning expires tonight at 6. Sunshine for the rest of the afternoon, 75. Clear skies tonight and 48. For the desert cities, sunshine this afternoon and 80. I'm Todd Edwards for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Well, Jay, and welcome. Thank you so much for starting this journey with us on Friday afternoon. It's Black Friday, so you're probably not coming from work, but you're going from one store to another. I'm not. I've had my fill of Black Fridays or any other days that are black. But in this case, it's I guess black was to put stores into the black instead of losing money in the red. So be it. And there's some good bargains out there I've been seeing, so go get them if you can. And welcome to the Educated Retirement Show here on KMET 1490 AM, where we contemplate retirement. And how to best prepare for that retirement and how to best stay successful retired. And we have a great guest today, a real handsome guy. Oh, that's me. That's right. I'm going to be taking the place of today's guest. And we're going to move it back to the last half hour because, as you know, this show is about reverse mortgages, and I never talk about reverse mortgages. Because I do that every other day from morning to night because I am working hard these days. Everybody is getting them. And I have fun doing the show. But in any case, I'm forcing myself. So we've got a half hour of some good learning coming up. So remember to absolutely meet your retirement needs. Top off your tank with money. And, well, not just money, everything else, your way of life. So you can make it all the way to the end. Don't ask me where that end is, okay? The future, however, is now. And why? Because knowledge is power. And our phone number is 866-955-2233. 866-955-2233. Where we can talk about reverse mortgages, movies, music, and all that good stuff. And, of course, the website is the same as the show, theeducatedretirement.com. And, of course, it is also Dr. Heckham, DRHECM.com. and that's just DRHECM, and the only dot, and then com. Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, but I think of it more as a program than a mortgage, because you only take what you want. What you're doing is making your equity that you work so hard for, you're just making it liquid, that's all, which is what it should be. And if you take a look at that website, you'll see a whole bunch of swell things, including there's articles by a lot of people, a lot of our guests, lots of videos. People like videos. To me, it's like looking at a book with pictures, and I always like looking at books with pictures. So there's a lot of, like I said, great articles. There's a blog which has a lot of nostalgia that we talk about on this show, plus other things. And there's also the there's the KMET website, which it's listed as show to look at the shows or watch the shows live at 3. But you can watch any of them. Also, there's a link to KMET's website at the bottom of every page on my website. So, also a link to the YouTube channel, which I don't have last week's, but I'm pretty much up to date on everything else, and I keep bringing them up to date anyway. And speaking of other shows here on KMET, we need to give a shout out to Let Grandpa Speaks, whose show is here every Saturday morning at 9 a.m., and to me, it's the best way to start your weekend with a good and happy mood. Now, we didn't watch it this last Saturday morning because we wanted to start off our Thanksgiving Day the best we could. And we figured the best way to do that was with Grandpa Speaks. And we did that. So, also, don't forget the West Coast Business Review with Daryl McCants, who I have a cigar with once every couple of weeks or so in Upland. And he's actually a repeat offender on this show from time to time. And he's on every Wednesday at 4 p.m. And they always give a plug for this show on his show. And he puts me on his, quote, advisory board, along with Bill Morris of University of California, Irvine, who's also been a guest on his show. But who was a guest on his show? Wednesday was Grandpa of Grandpa Speaks fame, and Grandpa did a great job. Grandpa will be with us both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and I actually just got off the phone with Grandpa. He's in Los Angeles with some friends right now, having a good time. And don't forget the Ron Siegel Home and Finance Show. Ron is the guy that got me into radio in the first place, and I'm proud to say he's here on KMET along with the rest of us. And that's Monday through Friday at 6 p.m., and I'm on his show once a month. And I'll be on his show, I think, middle of next month. When I get the date, I'll let you know. And again, knowledge is power, and my day job is at The Loan Source. And my NMLS number, which is National Mortgage Licensing Service, 384-565. Once again, 384-565. And I don't sell any real estate. Daryl does, however. And but I keep my real estate license in tow. Actually, I don't have to do much for it because I've had one for, well over 30 years now. I've never had a complaint, so I don't have to do much to keep it. But I like to stay on top of those things, so my Department of Real Estate number is 792-630. And speaking of guests, I just wanted to, this was so cool. Paul Hegna, who's on public television, his calling card, this is his cash cows. He gives out cash cows. And I actually have a herd of these. And the other thing I'd like to show you is, he has this regular show that comes on public television. And I got this, actually I bought it from him, one of several. This is a DVD of his public television show. And is it well worth it? Way well worth it, especially if you get it for nothing, which you can do by just calling in. And you can talk to Sean. You don't have to talk to me. I'm always here. But I mean, getting one of these does not put you on any list to get bothered by me, okay? This is Tom Hegna, one of the very best retirement planning people on planet Earth. So just want to make sure you've got knowledge of those things happening. And what is today? Today is Record Store Day. It's the third Record Store Day of the year. And it coincides with Black Friday. So I guess the idea is they figured most record collectors, and there's a lot of women who are record collectors. If you look at YouTube, you'll see them on there. But I guess the originators thought that, you know, we got to keep records selling. So let's make sure somebody steers towards a record store instead of the outlet malls. Here's to you in the meantime. Have a sip of coffee. So, record store, and I've said this on the other two record store days, it's an event which began in 2007, and that was a time when, I mean, you couldn't give away records. I got so many of my 9,000 records, good ones, valuable ones, for dirt cheap in the 1990s and early 2000s because nobody wanted them. But boy, do people want them now. And it was held twice a year in April and, of course, Black Friday. And it brings together fans, artists, thousands of independent record stores across the world besides the United States. It's an event in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Mexico, Europe, Japan, Australia, and many special records are pressed specifically for Record Store Day with a list of releases for each country only to shops participating in the event. And the shop that participates in it, they have to have like almost 100% of their business has to be selling records. Now, my guy that I really love at Excel Stereo and Audio, Excel Audio, he does a lot of equipment selling too, so he doesn't qualify for these, but they are generally released for everybody a few days later, so you know, ain't no big thing. And I think I showed you these. I know I've shown you these before. Army of Darkness was a record store day, and I've shown you when I open it up, it's got the little Campbell. What's his name? Bruce Campbell's. Because I don't know if you saw the movie, which you should have if you're cultured. That was a joke, by the way. You know, he has all these little people of little replicas of himself attacking him. Earlier, we got this Children of the Damned, John Carpenter, which I really like the movie. Oh, there's what we call a hype sticker showing Record Store Day. And it's a good movie. And really, I think it's one of his best soundtracks. This year, I know he's coming out with Ghosts of Mars, which I really look forward to seeing that movie, and I was very disappointed. It was like gory for gory's own sake. I don't know. In any case, I didn't like it much, but I hear the music is very good, so I may be on a hunt for that. This is a Record Store Day collector's edition, Oyster Cult. Blue Oyster Cult. Some Enchanted Evening, and it is enchanted, and there is, boy, that's a nice picture on the back. Is that rock in Australia? I don't know. First time ever on vinyl. Anyway, so be it. Just to show you some Record Store Day things, but if you are a record collector, I hope you're out having fun. And it's National Cake Day. Now, I'd show you what cake looks like, but I ate it all. So slide over pies and hot fudge sundaes. I'm not sure about that. Today, cake takes center stage as the dessert of choice. Okay. America's favorite cakes are chocolate, red velvet, carrot, and banana, not far behind Black Forest cake, which I really like. And, of course, where's cheesecake? Or is that considered a pie? I would put cheesecake right up there. Anyway, pineapple upside down cake. It's also very popular. It's believed that the recipe for pound cake was found in the pound was found in the first United States cookbook, American Cookery, which was published in 1796. And pound cake was traditionally made with a pound each of flour, butter, eggs, and sugar. Okay, a pound of eggs. Can that be true? Anyway, here's some quotes having to do with cake today. A lot of movies are about life. Mine are like a slice of cake. That's what Alfred Hitchcock said. Benjamin Franklin said, a great empire, like a great cake, is most easily diminished at the edges. Okay? If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion, says Elon Musk. And his cake looks like it might be the first one to the moon, not to mention Mars. So good for him. You know you're going to get old. You know you're going to get old when you get that one candle on the cake. That's true. It's like, see if you can blow this out, Jerry Seinfeld. But, you know, when you get older, it's not that it's too expensive to buy the candles. It's that they don't want to embarrass you by showing how old you are. But just take a look at this face here, and if you can see the video part of this, one candle ain't going to do much. In fact, if you cover it all with candles, maybe it'll cover more of my face. And did you know the phrase, let them eat cake, is attributed to Marie Antoinette, the Queen of France, before the French Revolution, before she lost her head over cake. And yes, I did know that, but I don't really know what she means by that. And anyway, as the story goes, it was the Queen's response upon being told that her starving peasant subjects had no bread. She said, let them eat cake. I think that now that I look at it, that sounds like sarcasm at its worst. So no wonder she lost her head. The phrase, take the cake, originally meant to win a prize. People as far back as ancient Greeks used the word cake to mean a symbolic prize. So that, I guess, would be a reverse mortgage takes the cake in the world of mortgage and retirement finance. Over time, it grew to have a more negative, sarcastic meaning in English, like, I can't believe this. It just takes the cake. And again, with a reverse mortgage or HECM, it seems too good to be true until you learn all about it. It's still not good, but it definitely takes the cake. So selling like hotcakes originated in 1800s when simple cornmeal versions were sold at church bake sales and snapped up by congregations before they went cold. So it kept people cold or cooler. And when I was a kid, I remember Yom Kippur being left with the children out on the front lawn. It was before they had air conditioning in the temples. And I remember them bringing some of the old people out on stretchers and laying them on, yeah, that's true, laying them out on the grass so they could recover from the heat inside. If, in fact, they had cake back then or served cake, that would not have happened, would it have? Let me ask our director here.
Right.
Okay. So, with that, and gee, I guess I'm old enough to be one of those people, so it's back to the grass for me, too. Anyway, we're going to get into some famous people's birthdays, and Tina Turner was born on the 26th in 1939, making her about 81 years old. And let's have a couple of pictures for those of you who are watching or will watch on the video cast. And thither she is. And I think she's quite a bit younger. Here, let me put it towards the camera for Facebook here. And I'm just waiting to see it on our delayed monitor to make sure I'm in the right spot. I think so. If not, I'll just put it back. And here she is with Ike. Boy, I got to admit, those are some real hairdos. Of course, they'll probably think of that with today's hairdos when we look at it. And how long ago do you think this picture was taken?
I'm not sure.
A while ago. I'll tell you that. And they're not too much different here. Ike and Tina Turner, I'm sure, I know everybody knows what they look like, who they are. But I just think it's fun to talk about take a look at their pictures, sometimes poke fun at their pictures. Is this her now? Okay, this is her now trying to look like a 12-year-old, I would think, with that little cutie little haircut. But that, she looks okay for being even older than me. Maybe I should have that haircut. What do you think? No? Probably not. But Tina Turner is an American-born Swiss resident, now singer, often referred to as Queen of Rock and Roll. She rose to fame as the lead singer of the Ike and Tina Turner duo, so she led Ike. I wonder what he would think of that. Launching a successful career as a solo performer then, and Tina was born Anna Mae Bullock in Brownsville, Tennessee. Her father worked as an overseer of sharecroppers on a farm, and when she was young, her and her siblings were separated when their parents went to work at a defense facility during World War II. Now, Tina went to live with strict religious parental grandparents for a short time. She moved again when her mother left the family permanently, and Bullock joined the cheerleading squad. That seems normal. And the female basketball team, that I didn't know, in high school. And after graduation, she worked as a nurse's aide in a hospital. So well-rounded, did a lot of things, it seems like, not only for herself, but for other people as well. And when she got a little older, her sister began to frequent nightclubs where she first saw Ike Turner perform, and with his band in St. Louis. In 1957, she got a hold of his microphone, band's drummer. How do you like that? And during an intermission, she sang when Turner eventually asked her to become a part of the group. Excuse me. A group named Ike Turner's Kings of Rhythm. Anyway, he asked her to become the group, and I guess to become part of the group, and I guess she took over. Women can be like that sometimes, right? Anyway, later she had the chance to record a demo tape with Turner and was heard by the president of the rhythm and blues label, Sue Records, and said that Bullock sounded like screaming dirt. Huh? It was funky. It was a funky sound. All right. Could be funky, screaming dirt. Not sure about that. She eventually changed her name to Tina and married Ike Turner in 1962, and the musical legend began. So, saw her in person in San Bernardino, or right out there, Devore area, where I guess they used to have the Renaissance Fair. I don't remember what that's called anymore. But anyway, I saw her perform out there. Very good. That was about 300 years ago, but that was very good. So let me just chime in here and let our engineer Sean know that, since we don't have a guest to bring in right now, we can skip the break if you want to. If you have advertisers, bring them on in. Just let me know. But Tina Turner sold over 100 million records worldwide and is one of the best-selling recording artists of all time. She's received 12 Grammy Awards, 3 Grammy Hall of Fame Awards, and a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. She is the first Black artist and the first female to be put on the cover of Rolling Stone. So figure that one out. She is a 2-time inductee into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I always wondered how they can induct somebody like more than once, but
I'm not sure.
not sure. But it looks like looks like I'm running out of juice on the phone because I forgot to plug it in before the show, and I may be losing the Facebook thing prematurely. But so be it. Let me just say goodbye if I am going to lose them on that end. Anyway, I mean, once you're in a Hall of Fame, I thought it was like a lifetime thing, and unless you have 2 lives. Anyway.
I'll look into that.
And also a 2005 recipient of the Kennedy Center Honors and Woman of the Year. So, so be it. So what we're going to do now is, instead of taking a break, we are going to wait for NASA Nellie to come from outer space. And let me fill my coffee here because, you know, she's going to bring a lot of vacuum with her from outer space. So let's keep a listen for her retro rockets. All right, so take it away. NASA Nellie is going to talk about the Gulf Breeze incident, or who placed that fake UFO in the attic. Take it away, NASA Nellie.
November 1987. Some of us were still watching Evil Dead 2 and Prince of Darkness in the theaters.
Excuse me for just a moment, but let me say that Evil Dead 2 and Prince of Darkness are great movies.
Yeah, they are.
Evil Dead 2, I think, has definitely earned that title, and Prince of Darkness may not be considered the best of Carpenter's film, but I really, really enjoy that movie. And who is it that pops up at the very end?
Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper, that's who I thought. Yeah, Alice Cooper time travels as something like the devil, but that's not talking about his music, but that's okay. I'm sorry for interrupting NASA Nellie. Go back to it.
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on me.
But on the 11th, contractor Ed Walters was watching something unearthly. It was a cool winter evening in Gulf Breeze, Florida, and it was a day not to be forgotten. Ed was working in his home office when he noticed a light moving outside. To get a better look, he went to the front door and saw that it was a glowing bluish-gray craft hovering in the sky above. He rushed to photograph it with his Polaroid, and this was not his only sighting. I was astounded when the UFO returned over a week later, just before dark. I aimed the camera, followed, and photographed it again. Suddenly, something hit him. He couldn't lift his arm. He was standing in a bright bluish light beam and heard a voice, "We will not harm you." All of a sudden, he hit the ground. The story doesn't end there. The craft returned again one evening as Ed opened his window blinds. Imagine the shock. A small, armored, out-of-this-world being outside the window was looking straight into Ed's eyes. Later, the Gulf Breeze Sentinel published a number of photographs supplied to them by Walters that claimed to show the UFO. Ufologists such as Bruce Mcafee believed the photographs were genuine, but others believed it was a hoax. What makes this event more interesting is that a city council member said he saw a bright orange object fly overhead. A retired newspaper publisher said that he saw it too. So did a doctor and a chemical engineer. About 100 witnesses all backed the Walters claims. There were sightings the last 6 months. MUFON reported detailed descriptions of the observers of these events that prove that something is out there in the skies over Florida, and they saw it. Ed Walters didn't just see the ships. He says that they burned his grass as it shot the beam of blue light. He also reported hearing in his mind both the instructions of the aliens and discussions of Earthlings he believes were being held aboard the ships. There's a 90-minute stretch for which he cannot account for. He wound up waking face down on the beach. He believes he was a victim of an alien abduction. Walters was a residential builder and a member of the city planning board of Gulf Breeze. He and his wife are both respected in their community. This collection of convincing, eerie photos are still very controversial to this day. When the Walters moved from their home, it is claimed that a styrofoam model of a flying saucer was found in their attic. He insisted it was planted to attempt to prove his sightings as a hoax. His case has been the highlight of many UFO specials, conventions, and lectures. Even Fox Mulder referred to the Gulf Breeze sightings in an X-Files episode, and we all know that Mulder wants to believe.
And so do I. And I sure do miss X-Files. I don't know if anybody else does, but I really miss X-Files. And I really like those short seasons that they came back with. A few of those years, some of them seem pretty silly, and I like those also. But speaking of Bruce Mcafee, before you leave and go back, I dropped all those pictures, but that's okay. They're floating in space now. Bruce Mcafee, we talked about him a minute ago as a ufologist, but he actually is an expert in taking apart and video and photography and being able to pull all those things apart. I don't remember exactly what you would call that, but he has been and maybe still is. He's probably retired now, but he did all this work for the U.S. Navy. So he ain't no slouch when it comes to any of that stuff. And just remembering him, I remember there's a series of films called Missing 411 by David, think of it in a moment here. And there was even a History Channel show. But Bruce Mcafee's wife got some of the best evidence for one of the weirdest things that, well, the world is full of weird things. We call them paranormal, but because we don't understand them all. But someday, David Paulides, yeah. And because he writes a lot of books. I think he's written 8 books now about how people just go missing. But in any case, Bruce Mcafee's wife was hunting near their house, and they have a within walking distance, the stand, and she saw this thing that she swears, and I don't remember, were there real photographs of it that she took? She took some.
Yeah.
But it kind of had that same look that the Schwarzenegger, what do you call it? What? Predator. Yeah, exactly the same kind of. I don't mean it had the same face. It had more my kind of face, but it had that transparency that came and went. In any case, so be it. And I would highly recommend you. Amazon has all of the several different movies, documentaries by David Paulides, and of course his books are available on Amazon or anywhere else. Very interesting stuff.
Different.
Really gets into a lot of stuff around the country, Mount Shasta and things like that. What's that? Alaska, yeah, well, so be it. I'm going to have some more coffee, though, so hang on a second. So NASA Nelly needs to take off. Let's hear those rockets, please. All right. Now, who else was born on this day? Charles Schultz was born on this day in 1922, and he earned his wings in 2000. So he was born Charles Monroe Sparky Schultz, was an American cartoonist, who we all know, and creator of the comic strip Peanuts. Poop Nuts. Oh, I got a dirty look for that. Anyway, here's Peanuts. And boy, we sure don't need to be reminded who Peanuts looks like. But, quite a smile. And look at the size of his head compared to the body. And here's Charles Schultz as a young lad, And I think he looks a little bit like Peanuts, no? Tell me what you think about that.
Well, isn't he actually called Charlie Brown?
Charlie Brown, but still,
Yeah.
Peanuts was the name of the
comic strip.
the comic strip.
Yeah, he does.
But there's Charlie Brown in his youth, or otherwise known as Charles Schultz.
Looks just like him.
There he is. What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, here, give me the two together. There, what do you think? Huh?
Spitting image.
I don't know about spitting image, but, definitely there's some,
Resemblance there.
yeah, resemblance there. Smile could be a little bigger on the real person, but, so be it. Anyway, Charles was born in Minneapolis, which is in Minnesota. He loved drawing, really, and sometimes drew his family dog Spike, a pointer, not a beagle. Beagle was in the comic strip, though, who ate unusual things such as pins and tacks. Well, most dogs will eat anything in front of them if they can get their mouth around it. He sent in 1937 a picture of Spike that he drew to Ripley's Believe It or Not, and it was published in a syndicated panel captioned, "A hunting dog that eats pins, tacks, and razor blades is owned by C.F. Schultz." So Charles skipped 2 grades in elementary. I didn't skip them, I flunked one, but in any case, in elementary school, and was a shy and timid teenager. His drawings were rejected by high school yearbook. Well, that makes sense. He spent time in the U.S. Army in World War II and saw combat only at the very end of the war.
Here's the picture.
Here he is in uniform. So there is Charles Schultz in uniform. Let me get up a little closer here. Okay. And like I said, he saw combat only at the very end of the war. He said he had only once fired his machine gun but forgot to load it, and that the German soldier he could have fired at willfully surrendered. On returning home from the war, he began publishing his cartoons in various newspapers, including the Saturday Evening Post. So Peanuts was published daily in 2,600 papers and in 75 countries, 21 languages. And in over 50 years, Schultz drew almost 18,000 Peanuts comic strips, not to mention all the merchandise and product endorsements that followed. So product endorsements today seem to only be going towards sports figures, but Charlie Brown was there. Charlie Brown, the principal character of Peanuts, was named after a co-worker at Art Instruction Incorporated. And did you know Schultz loved Citizen Kane, the movie, and watched the movie over 40 times? I'm going to say I've probably beat the 40 times. I love the movie also. It's one of those films that lasts less than 2 hours and you feel like you've been with these people your whole life. I don't need to tell anybody about that kind of thing. Charles was very active in senior ice hockey tournaments and formed Snoopy's Senior World Hockey Tournament. Senior, I guess that means old people. And was awarded the Lester Patrick Trophy for outstanding service to the sport of hockey in the United States. And Charles' favorite artist was Andrew Wyeth. And that's a little bit different for him, but it takes a lot of thinking, and very moody, and anyway, had a passion for classical music like me, and jazz, of course, and a bunch of rock and I'm talking about him now. It's classical music, and his favorites were Beethoven and Brahms, BB. In 1982, 2 gunmen in ski masks entered his home through an unlocked door planning to kidnap his wife, but failed when their daughter drove up to the house, which prompted them to flee. The police were notified, and the crime was believed to be kidnap for ransom, and no one was hurt. Kidnap for ransom, that's, Fargo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, speaking of movies, Fargo. Wow. Charles Schultz was nominated for 8 Primetime Emmys awards, and he won one of them.
Where's that?
What's that?
Another picture.
And we have another picture, getting a little bit older. As you can see, getting a little blue-haired there. No, I think we run out of color ink, and blue came out, but I like it anyway. So there he is, a little bit older. Now, he was from the Santa Rosa area, and unfortunately his old home and museum burnt down in that fire from a couple of years ago, which is kind of tragic. Excuse me while I have some coffee. And I guess we could have had Sean play Take 5 as an introduction, but maybe. And anyway, who else was born right now? This is on the 25th, and that would be Paul Desmond. And Paul, we got a picture, because a lot of people don't know what he looks like, and I...
Oh, here. How about, yeah.
All right, how about this? We still got, he didn't do just blues, but the same thing with the color cartridge, but I like the picture. There is Paul Desmond, although he, to me, doesn't look like he sounds, but there he is. And he was the one made a real believer about, playing his instrument and playing the alto. And here he is a little bit older, and again with the instrument in his hand. Although that could be a different, I don't know, it could be the same instrument or not. But, he was born on the 25th in 1924 and left us in 1977. So Paul Emile Brettenfield was an American jazz alto saxophonist and composer best known for his work with Dave Brubeck Quartet. He was the main influence. Of course, writing Take 5 was kind of a group effort, but he was the impetus to that, and that's what he's very, very well known for. So I think Take 5 takes a lot longer than 5 minutes, but anyway. In addition to his work with Brubeck, he led several groups and collaborations with Jerry Mulligan. Did I bring out? I probably didn't bring out one of the Jerry Mulligan records with him. Those are on some of the, I was going to say some of the Mobile Fidelities from back when. And let me see that one. Just to show you for the heck of it. Let me look inside here. There you go. I think this was $9 because I got it in that time when nobody wanted vinyl. Anything in here? Not really. Words. So, number 3522. It doesn't say out of how many, but still, there it is. And he was one of the most popular musicians to come out of the cool jazz scene, or maybe considered West Coast jazz. So Desmond was born in San Francisco. His father was a pianist, organist, and composer who accompanied silent films in movie theaters and for live theatrical productions. His mother was emotionally unstable and suffered mental illness throughout his upbringing. So Desmond studied clarinet at the age of 12 through high school. I also studied clarinet in those days, and one of these days I'll have to tell you what happened to me in a marching in a parade down. But no, I won't do that on the air here. But let's just say very, very memorable experience I had. Anyway, during attending college, he began playing the alto saxophone. And after World War II, following his discharge, Paul changed his last name to Desmond. And he said he did that after hearing singer Johnny Desmond. He thought that Desmond had such a great name. He said it's so smooth, like me, and yet so uncommon, like me. He started working in the Bay Area as a backup musician and occasionally worked with Dave Brubeck. They had met in 1944 while still in the military. And let me show you, let me show the other one first, the other pile. Now, this is, of course, probably Dave Brubeck's most famous recording, as is probably Paul Desmond's with Take 5, although I really like Blue Rondo a la Turk and some of the, but in any case, now this is actually 4 separate one-sided 45 records. I just keep them together so that they stay together. But, Take 5, let me see if does it give any timings on that? On those records, it doesn't. But in any case, there you go. And I can't believe it even has the LP insignia on it.
And why are they one-sided again?
Oh, they're one-sided because because it was figured that if there were no grooves on the side that touched or laid on the turntable, then there wouldn't be any vibrations that built up in those grooves to bother what was playing on the business side of the record. Now, they stopped doing that for several reasons, although once in a while you'll see it come out that way. I mean, cost is one thing, a big thing. And as you may or may not know, records are so far behind in being pressed. I mean, there's like a year and a half, sometimes 2 years. We ordered Bette Midler about a year ago, and we think we'll get one step, not one-sided, but one step out by the end of the year.
Janis Joplin.
Who did I say?
Bette Midler.
They're both women. What can I say? Janis Joplin. Yeah.
Style.
Yeah, a little different. But, when you get old like me, sometimes, those things kind of run together. One's still alive, though. Yep. Nice. And the other one is tragically gone. And one of the record store releases will be Big Brother, or is it Big? And the Holding Company. So that it's supposed to be a big seller. Anyway, they did a lot of these. A company called Classic Records did a lot of these. They licensed a lot of stuff from Columbia, a lot of stuff from RCA, classical stuff. And they are very, very, very good. And today the vinyl is even better than it was then, so they can get away with, today some 33s to me sound better than some of the 45s back then. But this is a classic, and if you don't have it, get it. So he occasionally worked with Dave Brubeck, and they had met in 1944 while still in the military. So in 1976, he played 25 shows and 25 nights with Brubeck, touring the United States in several cities by bus. All right. I hope it wasn't a Greyhound bus. Paul worked several times during his career with saxophonist and band leader Jerry Mulligan, appeared at the New Orleans Jazz Festival, and also collaborated with Chet Baker. And there is one Chet Baker album also coming out on Record Store Day. But I've got so much Chet Baker, you can't believe it. And so much of his stuff came out on Sam Records this last year, too. Sam Records is a very small company out of France. They do extremely good work. And those are a lot of previously unreleased things, live performances, and also Kraft put out a dozen or so of his records this last year. So Paul claimed his musical style is very like a dry martini. So there. Okay. Although I don't like my martinis when I could drink anyway that dry. Sometimes I like a little vermouth. I like them dirty too because I love to eat olives. So let me just show you one of his solo albums. This is one of those that came out on the classic record, two-sided. A real saxophonist in a new setting. This is with strings. Obviously not a picture of him. But this is Classic Records, serial number whatever. This is number 467 out of, I don't know, 2000 or whatever. But there you go. My Funny Valentine, of course, which is really, really big thing for
Chet Baker.
Yeah, Chet Baker. Boy, well, that was so long ago. I mentioned his name. What was it? A minute and a half ago or so. Anyway, that's one of his, and it looks like I didn't show it very well. Let me get back a little bit here. There you go. You can probably see it more better now. Anyway, so Desmond enjoyed reading works by Timothy Leary and Jack Kerouac, and you know we've talked about especially Kerouac in relation to the 1950s and the Beat generation. We haven't talked too much about Timothy Leary, but, you know, he's kind of not exactly in the same group, same time, whatever, but so be it. He also dabbled in some LSD usage. Dabbled means he was a user, if you want to translate that into English. And
remember that Timothy Leary was the godfather for...
and Timothy Leary was whose godfather?
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder's godfather, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And he was known to be addicted to Dewar's Scotch whiskey and Pall Mall cigarettes. Dewar's, you know, I see that all the time. Dewar's, I guess, yeah. Scotch whiskey and Pall Mall cigarettes. I forgot Pall Mall was a brand. You don't see that anymore. And luckily, you don't see as many cigarettes anymore. And so he also frequently took amphetamines. And in the 70s was known to use cocaine. No. It is said that with his dependency problems, he would sometimes need a vitamin B12 shot just to go on playing during his later career. I think I got one of those once, and they hurt because that's thick stuff. Anyway, unfortunately, he died in 1977 from, guess what? That's right, lung cancer. And I guess we could see that coming. Well, in retrospect, we can see that coming. So I show all of those. Now, it's getting pretty close to break time, and which we have to take because, because, you know, the news is coming up, and we can't miss the news. And some advertisers, let them have their break. But for this 1 hour here, I want to thank Nasanelli again. Let's hear the Retro Rockets. Very good. It still has that choo-choo kind of. Mm-hmm. And did you know out there that what she just did is what trains are supposed to do when they move, when they leave the station, when they start moving? 2 short toots. And it's become like a little longer one, a little shorter one. It's not Morse code. It's just code for we are taking off. And speaking of taking off, we're going to do that for a few minutes here. And thank you for being with us. And please stay tuned. We will be back very soon. And see you then. Or hear me then. Take it away.